So, today our topic is understanding creativity. It is important to start with a clear definition of what we mean by creativity, as there are two completely different types. The first is technical creativity, where people create new theories, technologies, or ideas. This is the type of creativity we discuss here. The second is artistic creativity, which is more born of skill, technique, and self expression. Artistic creativity is beyond the scope of these articles. So today we study technical creativity. Many of the techniques in this chapter have been used by the great thinker of drive the creativity Albert Einstein. For example, used his own informal variant of provocations to trigger ideas that led to the theory of relativity. But anyone can learn to be technically creativity and use these tools. They are designed to help you devise creativity and imagination solutions to problems and help you to spot opportunities that you might otherwise miss. Number one is approaches to creativity. There are two main strands to technically creativity: program thinking and literal thinking. Literal thinking. Program thinking relies on logical and structured ways of creating a new product or service. Examples of this approach are morphological analysis and the reframing matrices. By other main strand uses literal thinking. Examples of this are brainstorming, random input, and provocation. Literal thinking has been developed and popularized by Edward de Bono, whose books you can find on the appropriate articles. G. The next step is programmed thinking and literal thinking. Literal thinking recognizes that our brains are pattern recognition system and that they do not function like computers. It takes years of training before we learn to do simple arithmetic. Sometimes that computer do very easily. On the other hand, we can instantly recognize patterns such as faces, language, and handwriting. The only computer that begins to be able to do these things do it by modeling the way that humans' brain cell work. Even then, computer will need to become more powerful before they approach our ability to handle patterns. The benefit of good pattern recognition is that we can recognize would be wasted if you had to do a full analysis every time you came across a cylindrical canister of effervescent fluid. Most people most people would just open the can of fizzy drink. Without pattern recognition, we would starve or be eaten. We would not cross the road safely. Unfortunately, we get stuck in our pattern. We tend to think within them. Solutions we develop are based on previous solutions to similar problems. Normally, it does not occur to us to use solutions belonging to other patterns. We use literal thinking techniques to break out of this pattern way of thinking. Literal thinking techniques help us to come up with startling, brilliant, and original solutions to problems and opportunities. It is important to point out that each type of approach has its strengths. Logical disciplined thinking is enormously effective in making products and services better. It can, however, only go so far before all practical improvements have been carried out. Literal thinking can generate completely new concepts and ideas and brilliant improvement to exist system in wrong place. However, it can be sterile or unnecessarily disruptive, taking the best of each. A number of techniques use the strength of two different strands of creativity. Techniques such as the concept fan, used as a combination of programmed and literal thinking, do it, and Min Basadur's simplex empt the two approaches within the problem solving process. While these may be considered overkill when dealing with minor problems, they provide excellent frameworks for solving difficult and serious ones. The creative frame mind. Often, the only difference between creative and uncreative people is self perception. Creative people see themselves as creative and give themselves the freedom to create. Uncreative people do not think about creativity and do not give themselves the opportunity to create anything new. Being creative, being creative may just be a matter of setting aside the time needed to take a step back and allow yourself to ask yourself if there is a better way of doing something. Edward Divano calls this a creative pause. He suggests that this should be a short break of maybe only 30 seconds, but that this should be a habitual part of thinking. This needs self discipline as it is easy to forget. Another important attitude shift is to view problem as opportunity for improvement. While this is something of glitch, it is true. When you solve a problem, you have a better product or service to offer afterward. Using creativity. Creativity is a sterile if action does not follow from it. Ideas must be evaluated, improved, polished, and marketed before they have any value. Other sections of Mind's tools lay out the evaluation, analysis, and planning tools needed to do this. They also explain the time and stress management techniques you will need when your creative ideas take off.